Calling the roll for the Monday, August 5th, 2024 Border Control meeting. It is 11:01 a.m. We have Levine Ross serving as an alternate for Meredith Turner.
Here.
Trevor Meckler serving, no, Dale Miller, council member.
Serving as an
As
alternate
himself.
for myself. Here.
Joseph Nani serving as an alternate for Purnell Jones Jr.
Here.
Nicole English serving as an alternate for Mike Dever.
Here.
Lee Tucker serving as an alternate for Michael Chambers, fiscal officer and as chairperson.
Here.
Anitra Curry serving as an alternate for Paul Porter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. If we can take a second to review the minutes from 7/29/2024. If there's no updates, I'd like to make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Any public comment?
No public comment.
Moving on to contracts and awards.
First item, BC 2024-561, Department of Public Works recommending to amend board approval number BC 2018-414 dated July 2nd, 2018, which approved a preliminary engineering agreement with Norfolk Southern Railway Company for the replacement of Jefferson Avenue Bridge number 00.57 over Norfolk Southern Railroad in the city of Cleveland by changing the estimated amount from $20,194 to $80,194.
Nicole English with Public Works. So this is a not-to-exceed amount with the railroad. The project did change from design bid build to design build, so we have more effort that we're doing with the railroad to get approval. So we're adding $60,000. The likelihood of us using all of it is probably not high, but we want to be sure that we have a not-to-exceed in there so we can continue working with them, because they're very difficult, and if we stop and run out of money, then it takes a while to get them to look at our plans again.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item?
I just
Mr.
have a
Nunn?
curiosity. How does this work in terms of the total, like who's responsible for the actual total bridge? Is it Norfolk or is it us?
It's ours. We own this bridge.
Oh, okay.
Yep, they were there first,
I
so then
gotcha.
the bridge went over, so
Okay.
it's ours.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Hearing no additional questions, I'd like to make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-562, Department of Public Works recommending an award on RQ 14548 and submitting a purchase order with Ken Ganley Ford Parma and the amount not to exceed $69,188 for one new, never titled 2024 Ford F-450 4x2 chassis with welder bed for the Fleet Division.
Good morning, everyone. Tom Pavich, Public Works. This is approval of a purchase order with Ken Ganley. This is a replacement pickup truck that has a built-out welder body for our iron workers within our Road and Bridge division. It was a formal bid, and this is we had 2 bids submitted, and they're the lowest bid.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-563, Department of Public Works recommending an award on RQ 14482 and submitting a purchase order with Alt Sales Corporation and the amount not to exceed $85,202 for one new, never titled Landau trailer model 345F-38 for use by the Road and Bridge Division.
Good morning, Tom Pavich again, Public Works. This is approval of another purchase order with Alt Sales. This is for a trailer to be used by our Road and Bridge division. This was bid out competitively 2 times. This second bid, we had Alt Sales submit their proposal. This is a new trailer that will be used by Road and Bridge for carrying multiple pieces of heavy equipment to different job sites.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item?
Yes, I have a question.
Councilman Miller?
What cost estimate did we have going in prior to the bidding process?
I believe it was around the $85,000.
Came in as expected?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there additional questions? Hearing no additional questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-564, Department of Public Works submitting an amendment to a contract with Union Industrial Contractors Incorporated for rehabilitation of Cedar Point Bridge number 00.49 over the Rocky River, located in the Cleveland Metropolitan Park District in the city of North Olmsted, for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $200,400.
Nicole English with Public Works. This is a construction amendment. Most of this, the 180,000 of it, is related to one increased item that was a plan omission related to concrete for the superstructure. So the plans were called for the beams to be replaced, but didn't have enough quantity of concrete to do that. So that's accounting for most of it. The others are incidental increases in field conditions. So this is 100% out of Road and Bridge Fund now, because we are out of federal funding at this point. This is a project that I know Councilman Miller is very familiar with and gets lots of calls about. We are on track for reopening in November of this year, barring anything that we can't anticipate.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item?
So, I just don't want anything to stand in the way of getting this done, so I'm gonna move approval.
Thank you.
All those in, approved by Councilman Miller, seconded by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2024-565, Department of Public Works submitting an amendment to a contract with RGT Services LLC, DBA The Fowler Company, for lighting of Veterans Memorial Bridge Number 84 for the period October 18, 2023 through December 31st, 2026, effective upon contract signatures of all parties, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $105,000.
Good morning, Tom Papick on Public Works. This is an amendment to the contract we have with Fowler. Fowler maintains the lighting, the bridge lighting on the Veterans Memorial Bridge. It was originally an RFB. We contracted with them. We're just adding additional funds, $105,000. There's a lot of obsolete lights that we need to replace.
Thank you. Questions?
Quick question. So these are the existing lights. This isn't part of the new proposal?
These are existing, correct?
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Any additional questions?
This is, there was an agreement between us and the city of Cleveland on the bicentennial lighting. This is that. Yep.
Additional questions? Hearing none, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Ross. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved.
Thank you.
Next item?
Next item, BC 2024-566, Department of Information Technology, on behalf of the Department of Communications, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to B&H Photo and Electronics, DBA B&H, in the amount not to exceed $21,227.60 for a joint cooperative purchase of multimedia production equipment, various accessories and supplies, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. As Cheryl just read into the record, this is a purchase order under joint co-op purchasing Omnia Partners schedule pricing, various production equipment for the Department of Communications, some of which is in addition and some is replacement.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2024-567, Department of Information Technology, on behalf of the Sheriff's Department, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Integrated Precision Systems Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $5,214.40 for a state contract purchase and installation of two Schlage 8208 remote monitor and control consoles to replace the existing unit to operate the doors on the third floor of the Justice Center, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Dennis Sullivan, again, Department of IT, as Cheryl has read in. This is IPS, which is our surveillance platform standard throughout the county, and this is state term contract pricing.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2024-568, Department of Information Technology, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to MNJ Technologies Direct Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $44,792 for renewal of 75 various Adobe software license subscriptions, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, this is Levon from the Department of IT. This purchase order is an RFP exemption for various Adobe software licenses through M&J Technologies Direct. Adobe software is an IT standard and is offered through state term pricing from M&J Technologies, but this purchase is an exemption because the subscription start date was July 15th, but no payment has been made yet.
And can you state your last name for the record?
Levon Igriselashvili, I work.
Thank you.
Questions?
Question, would it be possible, or how would county council be able to get one of these licenses? We have somebody that could use that. Are they all being used, or can we secure one of those? We weren't asked to participate in.
Joe, are you familiar with the Sharewell process?
Yes.
Put the ticket in?
Yes,
Put a ticket in, we'll take care of that.
wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. English. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item?
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2024-569, Department of Information Technology submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to Integrated Precision Systems Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $252,889.64 for state contract purchase, installation, and programming services of an off-site video storage system as replacements for 27 existing backup appliances, retrofit kits for 35 existing Galaxy Access Control panels, 1 replacement server, and 1 enterprise license for various county buildings, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. This is state term contract for IPS, our surveillance standard, and this is, as Cheryl read into the record, replacement. Some of this hardware is aging.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Ross. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next
Thank you.
item?
Next item, BC 2024-570, Department of Human Resources submitting an amendment to a contract with Works Time LLC for Affordable Care Act third-party administrative services for the period May 1st, 2022 through April 30th, 2024, to extend the time period to September 30th, 2024, to change the terms effective May 1st, 2024, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $40,000.
Stephen Witt with Human Resources. This is an amendment, This is an amendment with WorksTime LLC, which is a subsidiary of Equifax for our Affordable Care Act filing services. The Affordable Care Act requires us to submit information on employees that they have health insurance. This vendor takes a data file and formats it and works with us to send it to the federal government and provide all the mailings. This amendment was done to buy us time to conduct a full RFP process and allow for additional time for any implementation needed under the new agreement as requested by IT. As you may see from the backup material, we started this amendment in January. We found that when this original contract was done, it was done with Equifax's or WorksTime's their agreement, which was lacking a lot of insurance terms and protections for the county. So there was a lengthy negotiations to put those in this amendment.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2024-571, Department of Human Resources recommending an award and enter into an agreement with the Metro Health System in the amount not to exceed $87,500 for on-site biometric screening services for county employees participating in the wellness program for the period August 5th, 2024 through December 31st, 2024.
Stephen Witt with Human Resources again. This is our annual agreement with Metro Health to conduct on-site biometric screenings in support of the wellness program. As you may or may not be aware, participating in the wellness program requires you to either visit your doctor for a biometric screening or participate in one of these biometric screenings, as well as participate in the rest of the program to earn a certain number of points for the wellness incentive.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item?
Yes, what is the time frame under which the screenings are going to be conducted?
I believe the screenings will be scheduled starting in the next couple of weeks, and then they will run for, I believe, 2 months. I apologize. They are starting it in September and running for September and November. 5 weeks, according to our director of OED, who also runs the wellness program.
Okay, thank you. I'll move approval.
Approved by Councilman Miller, seconded by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next
Thank you.
item?
Next item, BC 2024-572, county prosecutor submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Colio 2009 Corporation in the amount not to exceed $6,216 for renewal of 12 Colio standard licenses and purchase of additional license lines for one user for the period September 1st, 2024 through August 31st, 2025 for use by the Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Dave Terry, County Prosecutor's Office, Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. We've used Colio for about 10 years now. It's an undercover program that allows us to create fictitious phone numbers that are then used by our undercover investigators posing as minor children. This is a renewal of 12 licenses. A license is a phone number, essentially, so we have a number of investigators and officers that use this program yearly.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item?
Yes.
Councilman Miller?
How do we guarantee against entrapment? You know, you come in with a fictitious phone number and you get somebody to do something that's illegal, but how do you know that they wouldn't have done it other than that they were given a ready opportunity to do so?
We never initiate the conversations. We always allow the offender to initiate the conversation. Once they learn about the age of the child, they obviously then have the decision to whether they're going to communicate or not communicate. And then at that point, we would further the investigation unless the offender indicates otherwise. So none of these calls happen unless the offender has already expressed an interest in the age of the child and then committed a crime that would lead us to make a phone call.
Questions?
Well, I'm all for getting bad actors off the street. I don't want to create any two ways about that, but I don't know about this. Maybe if I understood it better, but it sounds to me like you might be getting people to do something that you don't know if they'd actually do in a real situation.
Well, these are people who have already expressed an interest to us of what they'd like to do. When we start a conversation with an individual, they're told the age of the child right up front. A number of those individuals will say, I'm looking for someone older, and that conversation will cease. At that point, we would not engage, we would not further that investigation. This is more for those individuals who express an interest in minor children, who indicate what they are interested in doing, which is a large part of the criminal offense then, that will then allow us to proceed. We're not using these numbers to randomly reach out to people on the internet. This is essentially a software that allows us to catalog and kind of keep evidence on the investigations that have already moved forward. So rather than having our investigators have to provide a county cell phone number, they're providing a fictitious number that is generated by the system to continue these investigations.
Okay, well, I'm gonna just trust you guys and the courts.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved.
Thank you.
Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-573, Medical Examiner's Office submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Fisher Scientific Company LLC in the amount not to exceed $40,747.58 for a joint cooperative purchase of various laboratory equipment, general supplies, and chemicals for the toxicology department and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Hugh Shannon, Medical Examiner's Office. This is just general laboratory equipment for the toxicology lab.
Thank you. Any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Ross. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-574, Medical Examiner's Office submitting an amendment to a contract with Alere San Diego Incorporated, DBA Immunolysis for purchase of enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay reagent kits and TCAN EVOware software maintenance for the toxicology department for the period June 28, 2022 through June 27, 2024, to extend the time period to December 27, 2025, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $130,000 effective upon signatures of all parties.
You, Shannon, Medical Examiner's Office. That one's a mouthful. We just say ELISA in the lab, so you could do that too, Cheryl.
Okay.
So the ELISA kits are, these are chemical-based kits that allow us to detect the various drugs in blood and urine that are being tested in toxicology. So while the previous item was for kind of more of the physical equipment, this is kind of our mainstay in toxicology for the detection of substances.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Ross. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved.
Thank
Next
you.
item.
Next item, BC 2024-575, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Senior and Adult Services, recommending an award on alternative procurement, BC 2024-355, approved May 6, 2024, and submitting a contract with the Cleveland Society for the Blind, DBA Cleveland Sight Center, in the amount not to exceed $250,000 for enhancing independence for blind or visually impaired in connection with the Healthy Aging Grant Program for the period May 6, 2024 through September 30th, 2024.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services on behalf of the Division of Senior and Adult Services. As you are aware, earlier this year, we received notice of a grant award from the state of Ohio for the Healthy Aging Grant, nearly $4 million, but it had to be spent out by September 30th. I do need to correct the answer to the advanced question. In my answer, I said we reached out after we had gotten the grant, but in actuality, once the community partners learned of the grant, they reached out to us. And then we worked with them to determine the best way to spend the grant dollars. The requirements for these grant dollars aligned well with our community social services program, and a majority of the funding was allocated to those existing vendors under that master contract. This contract for the Cleveland Sight Center and 4 others did not align, so we decided to execute individual contracts. Specifically, the Cleveland Sight Center contract will provide support for older Cuyahoga County residents with vision impairments who are facing potential loss of identity and independence. The Sight Center works with clients to restore daily living activities, boost confidence, and improve mobility.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item?
Yep.
These 3 not align with the master contract.
So Community Social Services Program has got very specific requirements. These don't necessarily fit with those specific requirements.
Any additional questions? Hearing no additional questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-576, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Senior and Adult Services, recommending an award on alternative procurement, BC 2024-355, approved May 6, 2024, and submitting a contract with Greater Cleveland Neighborhood Centers Association Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $150,000 for the iConnect program in connection with the Healthy Aging Grant Program for the period May 6, 2024 through September 30th, 2024.
Marcos Cortez again. Again, this is another contract under the Healthy Aging Grant. Under this contract, the Greater Cleveland Neighborhood Centers Association will expand their iConnect program, which is a service providing digital tech training and support for connecting older adults to experiences and opportunities to decrease social isolation and loneliness.
Are there any questions on this item? Hearing none, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next, item BC 2024-577, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Senior and Adult Services, recommending an award on alternative procurement BC 2024-355, approved May 6, 2024, and submitting a contract with the Cleveland Music School Settlement, DBA The Music Settlement, and the amount not to exceed $43,125 for the Creating Aging Department in connection with the Healthy Aging Grant Program for the period May 6, 2024 through September 30th, 2024.
Marcos Cortez again. Through this contract, the Music Settlements Creative Aging Department will focus on the beneficial and powerful role of the arts in enhancing quality of life for older adults by creating sustainable arts education programming designed for people specifically age 55 and over.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Ross. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Moving on to consent agenda items.
Consent agenda items are BC 2024-578 through BC 2024-580.
Take a moment to read over the consent agenda items. Are there any questions? Okay, hearing no questions on the consent agenda items, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Any other business?
No other business?
Any public comment?
No public comment?
Make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by everyone. Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?